Hi friends, and welcome into my home. Our home here at Mark's Minis, where my friends know that when I picked up this bottle of speed paints right here, my life changed totally. The quality of my work increased dramatically, I started posting fanatically, and that led to the creation of this channel. Since then, local artists have approached me asking me to promote their classes and local gaming conventions. How can I say no? So now we're into our fourth interview in the series, and we've got a really good one for you. Amazing artist does not even begin to describe our next guest, Chris Spots. He's based out of Atlanta and is a highly sponsored artist. He's flying out to California next month for our local game convention, Kubla Khan, and he's going to be teaching some classes there, including Speed Painting 101. So you can imagine I was pretty excited to talk to this guy. He's an award-winning artist, and he travels around the country teaching classes on speed painting. Plus, he's got a fantastic story that all of us painters can take inspiration from. So without further delay, let's get into this awesome conversation I had with the amazing Chris Spots. Enjoy. Welcome, YouTube viewers. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'm so happy to present the third episode in our interview series. And I'm happy to introduce and very privileged and honored to have on our show today Chris Spots. And Chris, we've just met, and of course before the interview I Googled your work, and I am just blown away. Viewers on the screen right now will be able to see some of your artwork in our background, and I'll have some in our intro as well. And yeah, I'm just absolutely blown away by your work, and I'm so happy that you're teaching speed painting classes at KublaCon, our local game convention. So real quickly, I just want to give you a brief story on me and this channel. I discovered speed paints when I was a novice painter. My results were really pedestrian, and got into a Kickstarter and then suddenly I had a bunch of models, and the Kickstarter was Mythic Battles Pantheon. And once I got speed paints and I put them down on feathers, right, my mind was blown away. I'm getting results that a novice painter would not normally be able to get, and I knocked out this griffin. It was mostly done in about an hour.
Sure.
And you know, that really got my attention going. I spent more time on a god. This is the god Pan from the
Right.
Pantheon.
Sure.
And speed paints did wonderful on him too. So I discovered speed paints. My quality level kicked up huge, and just instantly I started posting on my Facebook groups weekly all my new paint jobs. And at first they asked for work in process pictures, WIC pics, so I did that. Then they started asking for videos, and then at some point I said I gotta start a channel. Everything, been learning so much, trying to get my message out there that these new speed paints can really help new people get into the hobby. So teaching people, getting new people in the hobby, that's really motivating for me. So that brings us to you, Chris. So
Yeah.
I Googled you. I've seen some of your work. It's fantastic work. Please tell us a little
Thank
bit
you.
how you got started in miniatures. Like so many of us, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons back in the day. Does that sound familiar in your story?
That, yeah, that actually is kind of what happened. So, not that long ago at this point, I think roughly 6 years ago. I've been painting about 6 years, and
Oh my gosh.
I was at friends, and we started playing D&D, and I noticed he had tons of miniatures. He had backed, I think the first two at that point, maybe just the first one, but I believe the first two Reaper Bones Kickstarters. And so
Oh.
he had like a bajillion miniatures, right? And none of them were painted, and they're solid white. And I'm like, do people paint these? Is this a thing? And he's like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like people with crazy time, like who has time for that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll look into this. And because I'm looking at the table, and I was like, how much cooler would it be if my cleric was painted? Like that's got to be better. It just has to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And so next thing you know, I paint one, and I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. And I did a learn to paint kit, and
Yeah. Those Reaper
and
Learn to Paint kits are so cool.
they really are. I'm a big fan of starting there. They teach them some fundamentals that are really really key to learn. Even if you decide to go in other directions like speed paints and stuff like that, knowing those fundamentals are still really good.
You're our third guest,
Uh,
3 out of 3 that have spoke very highly of Reaper, and I only have a little
yeah.
experience with the company, but the few models that I have seen, those white ones, they're just so fantastic. I just love everything from Reaper.
Yeah, so some of the newer ones that they're putting out are a lot better than the older ones. Even the white ones are kind of their original Bones plastic. And the nice thing is you could literally drive over them with a car and they'll be fine. Like, they're indestructible. I'm pretty sure at the end of the world it's going to be Reaper, Bones, and cockroaches. Um, but the detail was kind of lacking, and the newer stuff hits a better mix where maybe they're not going to survive the apocalypse, but they're going to come pretty close, and the detail level is amazing. So their newer stuff I really really like. But they have a great line of Learn to Paint that I used, and then I'm the kind of person that like when I dive in on something, I go all in. Like there's no half measures,
You know,
and
I feel that vibe, my friend. I kind of like that.
right.
I don't usually go into a new hobby halfway.
Right, like I picked up another hobby, learning to blacksmith, and like I have a forge now. I have a forge in my garage now, and I mean, people are like, you can like not go in. Of course I'm going all in.
Yeah,
Like
my
it's
centaur
not
needs
even
some
a
new
question.
horseshoes. Okay, we'll
Right,
talk later.
exactly. Right. Um, but anyway, so I'm going all in, and so the next step for me was taking classes with people, and I'm blessed that I'm in a major metropolitan area, so there's a lot of teachers that come through the area. I've taken a lot of classes with Aaron Lovejoy from Miniature Monthly.
Oh, awesome!
I got to take a class with Sergio Calvo, who's amazing.
Wow, nice.
I've taken classes with probably a dozen different teachers. I just finished one with Jim Rice, and there's always something to learn. And I always feel like I level up, especially on these longer classes and stuff like that. So
Well, that's
next
huge
thing you
because
know,
you already
yeah,
answered the next question, which was, after you do
ah,
the gaming stuff, how did you go back leveling up? And you're the third guest, 3 out of 3 that have
yeah,
emphasized take classes. Go to your
yeah,
local gaming store. They'll clue you in. They might have classes there. They might clue you in on a local game convention that can have classes there. So yeah,
right,
reach out. If you want to level up your painting, one of the main things is just reach out and utilize the local resources that you have. That
hands
comes up
down,
time and again.
absolutely. Yeah,
Now,
so when I wanted to learn glazing, I watched like every YouTube video that I could find on it, and I kept trying to figure out glazing. And no matter what I did, I kept leaving these little tide marks all over the
sure.
model, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. And I'm watching these videos, and I'm like following step by, okay,
Me
this,
too.
this, this,
Yeah,
this,
try to copy
and
and
then
how do you do it?
and you're like, and
Yep.
it's not working. And it
Mm-hmm.
took all of about 5 seconds watching somebody do it in person, and I was like,
Yes.
because it turns out that everybody on camera was missing this one critical step because it was second nature to them. They didn't even think about the fact that it needed to happen, and on camera. And so to do that and see it in person really solidified in my mind. You can learn a lot from videos, from YouTube, from that stuff, but there is something extra special about
Yeah.
in-person
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There just is.
I can't emphasize and agree with you more on that point. Getting
Yeah.
someone to actually show you right there is better
Hmm.
than 100,000 hours watching YouTube videos. I'm telling you.
It
You made the
really
commitment
is.
to
Yeah.
grow yourself, to expand your skills, to start taking classes. And at what point did you get hooked up with Kubla Khan? And at what point did you start teaching classes? And was that sort of the same thing?
Yeah. So I've been teaching on and off in different forms now for probably 3 or 4 years. I start. I picked up the whole mini painting thing fairly quickly, I would
Yeah,
say, and
amazing.
so I ended up a teacher my first year at ReaperCon was the first one. After I'd been painting, I believe, two
Hmm.
years.
Hmm. My
So
first guest, Michael Kleiman, he told us a lot about ReaperCon, and that was just fantastic. It really make you want to
yeah,
go.
yeah. So that's where I know Michael from. Mr.
Ah, wow,
ReaperCon.
nice. Hmm.
Yes, yes.
So you're
And
teaching classes at KublaCon. That means you're going to be traveling to the Bay Area then.
yes, it'll be
Okay,
my first
awesome,
time in California.
awesome,
So
awesome.
I'm excited. That's one of the reasons actually that I like to teach. In addition to I genuinely like to teach, I also it's a good excuse to travel, see places that I've never seen before.
Mhm.
So I leave for Chicago next week to go to Adepticon.
Oh man,
Uh,
oh, you're
yep,
killing me, dude. You're
I
killing me.
know.
So
So
fun.
I'm doing that. KublaCon, ReaperCon. I hope in 2024, I'm hoping to go to Monte San Savino, which is the big Italian show, and that's like the show to end all shows.
Oh
Their
my.
work is incredible. It's on a
Hmm.
whole other level.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Wow. You make me feel very small, my friend. Very small.
No, 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 not at all.
I want to grow though. I want to expand out. I want to see and do some of those things for sure on my bucket list at
Yeah,
least, right?
there you go.
So yeah, I remember the second point I was going to branch off into was
There you go.
you're going to be traveling to the Bay Area. I'm going to try really hard to get into your class on speed painting because it's really the thrust of the channel.
Right,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna get a lesson in speed painting from a master. And you know, viewers, you should really take a lot of hope from this guy. He picked up really fast. In 6 years, he went from his first miniature to traveling, all around and teaching. So come on,
It's
pick up your brush, get things moving, right? You don't know
right.
you don't know what you're gonna do until you try. If you
Very true.
aim for nothing, you'll hit
Hmm.
nothing.
Well, and that's a lot of it. Is I'm very goal oriented. I like setting goals, and so there I was. I'd been painting 2 years, and I said, okay, what's going to be my goal for? Yeah, it was 2019 or 18, whichever 2 years was, and I said, one of the things that I really want to get a big commission from one of the major companies, whether it's Reaper or Dark Sword or somebody who is really well known in the hobby. And I said, okay, so I'm gonna really start not just painting well, but trying to paint specifically their stuff and like let them kind of know and everything. And like 2.5 weeks later, Reaper contacts me and they're like, "How'd you like to do a commission for us?" I'm like, "I'm
Wow,
not supposed to
nice.
get this in 2 weeks. Like it's supposed to take longer."
Nice, nice.
So yeah, yeah, it's been good.
I'm very happy to report that I just got noticed by the Army Painter Company because
Oh,
they're
nice.
they're noticing how much I just love the speed paints and how much it's just changed everything. It's changed my life. My life is so
Yeah,
different now since I just picked up speed
nice.
paints and started sharing what I've learned. So yeah, Chris, another topic that has been coming up over and over again is the use of 3D printers. So I don't have a lot of experience with them. I know the learning curve is pretty steep. I understand you have some experience with them. At least you're doing some miniatures that are 3D printed. Go ahead and tell us a little bit
Uh,
about
um,
your take on 3D printing right now.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty big in that space. That's a space I invested a lot into several years ago. I went to Origins, which is a convention in Ohio, specifically just so that I could go shake the hand of several people that were doing 3D print Kickstarters, stuff like that, to kind of get in that space and put in FaceTime with people because that's important when you're making connections. And so I've been in that space kind of almost the whole time that 3D printing has started to become popular. And honestly, it's really reshaping the way things are being done. Imagine that you could have the miniatures that you're doing, and there's no mold lines to clean up. There's no seams to patch. You print it, it comes off, and it's ready to paint. Like, so you immediately get to the good stuff,
Well, wait a
and
minute.
that's kind of
There's these trees I see, right? You got to have the structure to
right.
print the thing. So isn't there quite a bit of cleanup there?
So you know when you do it right, that cleanup is extremely minimal, sometimes not existent. With newer resin printers, if you're kind of doing it right and you're using good models and they're supported correctly, the sculptor is doing this support, so there's no learning curve to
Ah,
you. And then when you take them off, you dip it in hot water and they just peel off like
Ah,
Velcro. And there's pretty much no damage, if any, left
wow.
behind. And so the difference in prep time for me doing a 3D print versus a cast model is a factor of 10 to 20. I mean,
Wow.
it's a minute or two versus an hour,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I actually did a
And
full episode on tackling mold lines. It was a short one, but
yeah,
so
that's good.
I want to talk to you now a little bit more about KublaCon. So
Sure.
remind us again how far back do you go with KublaCon, and
Oh,
tell us a little bit about what we can expect. Paint us a picture, if you will, Chris. What can we look forward to at KublaCon?
yeah, absolutely. This will be my first year at KublaCon.
Oh,
Yeah, so brand new, never been out to California before,
all
and
right.
really looking forward to it. One of the judges there, Michael, who you had on your first episode, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, he invited me to come out. Michael from ReaperCon, and he said, is there any chance you want to come out? And I was like, let me see if I can make it work. And so next thing you know, I'm gonna fly out there. So I'm from the Atlanta area, so it's a literal cross country flight for me, and I'm really really looking forward to it. Teaching is one of the things I most enjoy, so I will be teaching 3 classes, and I think the way I held it up, it looked like two, but it's three. Uh, I will actually be teaching 4 classes, but I'm teaching one class twice
Yes.
because speed painting
Let's
is.
do a quick rundown of the classes, Chris. The one
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
interested in is Speed Painting 101.
Yeah,
Paint us a
yeah.
picture, if you will, about briefly what that class is, how that's structured.
Sure. So we're going to be using models on the larger side, just to kind of show how quickly you can speed paint something that may seem daunting with a tiny brush. If you're used to painting everything in layers with a 000 brush, like this is going to be like mind blowing kind of thing. So we're going to be tackling a larger model, and then we're going to go over kind of some fundamentals of speed painting, not from a like here's a product to use, the speed paints that you're tackling, but from some fundamentals of what things can we do quickly, what things should we spend more time on. You know, it's stuff like. Um, where should you spend the most time on is kind of a key fundamental thing of
Hmm.
speed painting. You don't want to spend an hour on the feet. You
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
you
I've
know,
told my viewers that repeatedly. Don't
yes,
spend time on the feet. If you can
yeah,
put stuff on the base that will cover the feet or take attention away from the feet, then
yeah.
do that.
Right. So it's stuff like that, where you do want to spend the time is on stuff like the face.
Hmm.
What features, how can we do faces quickly, but at a high level.
I really need to learn
You
that
know,
because I'm really dependent on the speed paints for almost everything, and
sure.
as my viewers know, that's not my strong suit.
Yeah.
I'm using speed paints, and I try to be strategic. I try to use gravity. I try to use some
Hmm.
strategic mopping, and for a lot of faces, it comes out just fine.
Yep.
But for most of the models, especially the smaller ones, I really can't do the eyeballs. So if there's a fast way, you can teach us to do
I,
eyeballs. Everyone's got to
I,
watch that.
I Right. So eyeballs are always going to be a little tricky. No matter how you cut it, if you're looking to paint an eye, there are techniques that help, and I will be covering those. There are techniques that help, but at the end of the day, if you don't have at least a little brush control to do what you want to do,
Yeah,
it's going to be rough.
yeah,
But there's some techniques to help.
nice.
When I wanted to get better at faces, what I did was I actually ordered a pack of heads that were just
Oh,
heads, mounted them on matchsticks, and then just I every day for 2 weeks, all I did was paint heads. I didn't paint anything else. All I did was paint heads, and the difference between the first head and the last head was tremendous.
I'm going to do
And I,
exactly that, my friend. I'm going to do exactly that,
yep,
and I'll ask you later if I get a link. Oh, and if I get a link, I'll put
yeah,
the link in the description. Stocking up on heads is actually a really good way to go about getting the
yeah,
faces done. And
yeah,
you see, one of the problems we face as painters when someone picks up your model off the game table and looks at it, their eyes Go straight for the eyes of your miniature.
Yep. They're
Uh,
wired.
this is sad
We're
but
wired
true.
as human beings for it.
Sad
Yeah.
but true. So in my miniatures, I try to put at least something there, but I really try to take your attention away from the face and the eyes by bright armor and sharp details around
Yeah.
the rest of the model. And I squeak by with that, as my viewers know. But
Well,
you
that's
know, like I said, I have to accept the advice I'm getting from all the guests that I've had so far, and take some more classes, up my game, up my skills, and that will just be I'll be able to provide more of a service to our viewers that way.
absolutely.
So yeah, I look
You
forward
know,
to
it,
learning from you at KublaCon, Chris. I'm gonna try really hard to get in that class.
absolutely.
Um,
Kind of what you were saying though is actually one of the things that I teach in the speed painting. You know, you were saying you try to distract. I call it the one cool thing rule.
mhm.
On your model, if you can have like one really awesome thing, that's where your viewer's eye is going to go. If they're carrying a staff of power, you know, make sure that the top of that staff is painted well and is super bright and is really colorful. And if you jack up the face, ain't nobody going to look at the face.
Right, right.
They're looking there.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, a lot of times the one cool thing on a model is the face.
Yeah,
Like they don't necessarily have the big fancy
yeah.
weapon or anything else that's really notable except the face.
And I'll tell you one reason I struggled with speed paints on the faces is that the if you want to use speed paints on a face, the sculpting has to be spot on. If it's hand
Yeah.
sculpted and there's like an incorrect divot here over a lip or it's too
Yeah.
pouty, the pigments will go for those little
Yeah.
imperfections and really
Yeah.
exaggerate them. So, but
Yep.
with
For
today's
sure.
modern models that are using 3D CAD technology to actually
Mhm.
sculpt the models, speed
Yep.
paints work better and better as the sculpt gets better. So because the
Right. I
contours are
mean,
more natural and that's where the pigments want to go.
yeah, you're seeing a lot of 28 millimeter scale stuff that even has sculpted eyeballs and eye sockets, not just, you know, kind of a divot there and a little bit of hint of an eyelid. Like top and bottom eyelids and eyebrows and everything else is actually sculpted into the model, and it's crazy.
Oh, I can ditto that statement for 15 millimeter plastic soldiers now. Yeah,
Right.
15 millimeter
Yeah.
plastics are coming out with extremely high detail for the for mostly historical armies. But yeah,
Hmm.
all kinds of new products for all different aspects of our hobby. So
Right.
yeah, it's
There's
thriving.
so
It's thriving.
much.
The hobby is growing in general. So we're just
Yep.
spreading the love. Okay, yeah, fantastic. So, Chris, I just wanted to let our viewers know what sort of presence do you have on social media? What do you got going? I'll put all the links in the description, and
Yeah.
just give us a quick rundown what you got going out there on the webs.
Sure. My main site is actually my Facebook page, which
Hmm.
is facebook.com/, the spotted painter. And that's where I'm probably most active. I share most of my work on Instagram, but I don't have nearly the following and such there. So Facebook is definitely my main case. I have streamed some in the past. I've got probably, I don't know, 50 to 60 videos or so on YouTube, maybe a little bit more. And then I will be starting up Twitch streaming again here in the next month or so. And I'll be posting fairly regularly there, probably once to twice a week, largely with a focus on teaching. So
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah, I could
covering
see hanging out with you on a Twitch
techniques
stream.
and
We'll do some spray
absolutely.
painting on the internet. Why not? That's what it's for.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
right
So
on. So we're
those
gonna
are
have
kind of
link.
my,
We'll have links anytime you do a Twitch stream. We'll link you here.
I dig it.
Which reminds me, of this channel is young and growing, so we appreciate any exposure we get on your groups too. Give us a
Yeah.
chance, folks. We won't let you down. We're doing all kinds of content as best we can. Basically, every free moment of my life, I'm producing video, and it's all about speed painting and the hobby and the stuff we love. So if you find this
Sure.
content useful, valuable to you, please let me know with a subscribe and a like. Okay, thanks again, buddy. I wanted to let our viewers clued in on what future projects you have. I know we've got the KublaCon coming up. What do you
Mhm.
got cooking on your front burner, buddy? What's hot? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, my biggest project is actually one of the sculptors that I've done a lot of work for, Lovecraft Miniatures. They contacted me and we're actually going to be putting out a line of like the Spotted Painter miniatures, specific to my brand and stuff like that.
Wow.
So
Congratulations, buddy.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
huge.
So it'll be a focus on larger scale. What we're going to call like semi-historical figures. They won't be actually like a historical figure. It'll be more things taken from historical mythology and stuff like that. So, for example, the first one is going to be a big Valkyrie with carrying a berserker up to Valhalla kind of thing.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm super excited. We're gonna run it as a Kickstarter, so everybody
Oh,
will have
cool.
access to it. Eventually, it will not. I believe the Kickstarter will just be 3D prints, but then we are also after that we will be making cast versions available as well.
Wow.
So yeah, if it goes well, we will be releasing them on a semi-regular schedule. We're hoping for between 6 to 8 releases a year of one kind of larger scale. Instead of the 1 to 2 inch kind of normal models that we're talking about a good 3 or 4 inch,
Yeah.
larger size model.
Sweet,
So
sweet.
yeah,
Yeah, well, my viewers who are familiar with the Mythic Battles Pantheon know that the set comes with quite a few large models, and
right.
I'm getting to the point where I can coach the young painters to find good beginner starting models that are big, and look for ones that don't have a lot of features, that only have a few different materials and textures, and don't be afraid of the large
Right.
models because they're
Yep.
actually easier. You can
They really
actually,
are.
yeah, you can actually make less mistakes. You got more room to work. So
Yep.
yeah.
It's a
All
bigger
right.
canvas.
Okay, that's about all the time we have, viewers. Thanks so much, Chris. That was really fun. You were, like I said, the third interview in our series. My life has changed so drastically since I picked up speed paints, and I want to thank the Army Painter for noticing that and supporting me on their fan page. Really appreciate that. That's huge, especially for a young starting channel. Don't forget, KublaCon's are one of our favorite local game conventions here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's in Burlingame at the end of May. Check the links, and of course, I'll have the KublaCon art in our background here. Um, wow, Chris, that was so much fun. Thanks again, buddy. Look forward to seeing you at KublaCon, and all of us here. Thank you for your work, and looking forward to more. And thanks again for inspiring new painters to get into the hobby and to get those slow brushes moving.
Right.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been wonderful.
Thanks again, buddy. We'll take
So,
care. Okay,
all
bye
right.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow, that was a fun chat with Chris. Now, thanks so much for staying with me to the end. Now, here's a quick wrap up. Listen up. Chris's story is phenomenal. He went all in on classes. He decided to up his game right away, and within a couple years from just starting, he went to teaching classes. A couple years after that, he's traveling around a highly sponsored artist, and we are looking forward to taking his class at KublaCon. KublaCon, local gaming convention, not a painting convention. It is a gaming convention, great family event. Tickets for classes go on sale May 1st. So, Chris's advice on taking classes, I'm taking it to heart. In fact, I'm going to double down. In April 22-23, I'm going to be on a painting retreat. Nothing but painting in the beautiful Santa Cruz Mountains. A wonderful town called Boulder Creek. A friendly local gaming store, Herrick Games and Hobbies, is hosting an event where I will take a class from none other than Dev Sodagar, one of my previous episode interview guests. This store is a fun place in a very beautiful little town nestled in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We're going to be surrounded by redwood trees, and I'm going to take Dev's class and do nothing but paint, because taking classes and practicing will up my game, and that will allow me to provide a better service to you. Now, although the primary focus of the store is Games Workshop and 40K and AOS, for my Pantheon friends, no worries, Ragnarok is upon us, and I will be speed painting that with you starting in September, or whenever we get our plastic. And you'll want to be right here for unboxing and speed painting units weekly. We will paint Ragnarok together. No gray plastic. We'll make it fast, we'll make it fun, we'll make it easy. You will have a painted Ragnarok. Thanks again so much for watching. If you found any of this content valuable, useful to you, please let me know with like and subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.